For me, it's about the law and people. How am I supposed to quantify the value of these things when I don't have evidence?
I'm sorry.
And how people can resolve their problems and just be better for it.
Justice with passion.
I always knew I was going to go into law because I tried to see everybody's point of view in an argument. You say one thing, she says another. So who am I to believe?
Justice with truth.
Either you make the decision or I make the decision. You won't like mine.
This is Justice for All with Judge Cristina Perez. Kelly Prieto is suing Zach Mady in the amount of $9,288. Ms. Prieto claims her married lover said he would cover the cost of her apartment and says when his wife found out, the defendant dumped her and owes for rent.
I understand that you and Mr. Mady were in a relationship?
Yes, we were. We're in a relationship for about 1 year.
Okay.
And so we started dating after I was a bartender for one of his conventions. My restaurant got contracted to be there, and we hit it off at first. He was really nice. I served him a few drinks, and then after that, didn't think anything of it, but he called the company I work for and asked for my information.
Very romantic.
They obviously didn't give it to him, but I called him, and we were dating for about 3-4 months, and then I see a text message on his phone from his wife.
Oh.
Asking when he was going to be home. I had already fallen very madly in love with him and asked him what this was about. And he claimed that he and his wife were separated, and he had been separated with her for quite some time, and that it was just me and him against the world. And he convinced me that we were going to be together forever.
Okay.
And so
you were married at the time?
I was, Your Honor, yes. I was married for a couple years, but again, some of what Kelly was saying wasn't completely true. I don't know if this is the correct time to get into that, but...
Probably not, because I need to understand why she's suing you for almost $10,000. But, so you were married at the time you started a relationship?
Yes.
Okay, so you knew you were dating a married man?
Yes, but I didn't find out until after a few months of dating him.
Okay,
and
but then when you found out he was a married man, you continued dating him, it was okay?
Because he said he was separated from his wife.
Okay.
He said that they were no longer together,
all right,
and they just had children together.
Okay.
And so after a few months, I was living in my studio apartment, and he was kind of getting fed up with having to go there. It was very, very cramped and very crowded. I am currently in school, and so there's books everywhere, paperwork, etc. And so he convinced me to get a bigger apartment. I am a bartender and a waitress. I make $7.25 an hour, and I couldn't afford it. And so he said that he would pay for this apartment that I would live in, and so when he came over, it would be easier and more wonderful, and we would have more space. And so
you didn't want to move out of your little studio apartment?
No, I did not.
How much did you pay for your studio apartment?
$900 a month.
That's a pretty good deal. Okay,
It was
$900, and you paid utilities and things like that?
Yes, utilities was about like $100 a month.
Okay, so maybe $1,000 a month you spent.
Yes.
All right. So he wanted you to be in a bigger place.
Yes, he wanted to be in a bigger place. It was very, very cramped. Like you can touch the stove with your foot from the bed. It was that small.
Okay. All right. So it was his idea for you to get a new apartment?
Yes, it was his idea for me to get a new apartment, and he would not be living there full time. He would stay with me like 2-3 days a week. And then while we were together, everything was fine. How long did you date for? We dated for about 4 or 5 months before I moved into the new apartment, and it was a brand new apartment. Everything was state-of-the-art, new kitchen, very big, 2 bedrooms, and it was very nice, but it was nothing that I needed. And then 7 months later, I get a call. He didn't even come in person. I get a call saying, my wife found out, I need to break up with you, and I'm not going to pay your rent anymore. And
you signed the lease?
Yes, I did sign the lease.
Okay. And then he's not going to pay rent, so his wife found out about you, but
Yes.
I thought you were separated.
No, we are together. My wife and I are together.
Oh, so you had an affair?
Yes, that's right.
flat out affair.
Yes.
Yeah. Double life.
Yes, it had gone on for a little over a year.
Okay, so you're paying her rent, but also living at home. Did you say you were going like on business trips or something, and then you would just go spend the night with her a couple times a week?
Yeah, at different times as well, just coming home from business trips. It would be nice to just go into the apartment and see Kelly for a bit.
Coming up on Justice for All.
It was under your promise that you were going to pay for rent every single month.
While we were together, yes, that was the agreement.
Every single month you pay for rent.
While we were together, that is true.
No, you still paid for rent.
And later,
2 weeks later, I find out that her child has stolen almost $300 out of my bank account.
Okay, how did her child steal $300 out of your bank?
if you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching Justice for All with Judge Cristina Perez. We're back with the case of Kelly Prieto, who is suing Zach Mady for breach of contract.
You signed the lease.
I signed
It's under
the
your
lease.
name, I understand.
He also is signed on the lease, and so
Okay.
he would pay me the $3,096 a month, and then I would pay the lease with that.
Okay. When he told you that he got back together with his wife and he wasn't going to pay for rent anymore, you had 3 months left, or how many months left?
I had about 3-4 months left, yes.
3-4 months left. So you had to pay that on your own?
Yes, I actually had to sell a lot of my things in order to. I'm going to school full time, so I didn't have any savings. I was trying to pay off my student loan, so I didn't have any debt when I left.
So you
And-
want him to reimburse you for those last 3 months of the lease?
Yes, because we paid the first 2 months within the security deposit.
Okay, so that's why you're asking for $9,288.
Yes.
So $9,288 is about 3 months, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And why didn't you want to pay her the rent?
Yes, Your Honor, if you do want to review the lease, my name is not on the lease. It's only her
Can
name.
I get any evidence that you have, please?
Yes, I do. I have
Okay.
the rent
So, but
payment.
you paid for her rent before, right?
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor. I paid
How
for
many
her
months did you pay for her rent?
About 7 months.
Just give me the evidence, please. So you paid rent for
7
months. You didn't even make her pay $1?
No,
50
it was contingent.
cents?
Yes, Your Honor, it was contingent
Nothing.
that I would pay the rent while.
So you were
while
just
she-
going to pay the rent?
Yes,
right?
I was going to pay the rent while
Okay.
we were together.
And where is he on the lease?
I misspoke. I'm sorry. He was with me when I signed the lease.
All right. So then these are the receipt payments of
Yes.
what he made. So you paid March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So you paid all those months.
Yes.
Okay, so you paid 7 months
That's
or
right.
more. It was under your promise that you were going to pay for rent every single month.
While we were together, yes, that was the agreement.
Every single month you pay for rent.
While we were together, that is true.
No, you still paid for rent. So, when I look at a contract, of course the lease is under her name. Had she paid like a couple months, $50, $500, I'd say, okay, that's a different story. But you paid rent for 7 months straight. So your prior conduct tells me that you had something under the law that's called a course of dealing. When you do something continuously and you have prior conduct, prior performance, that means that it was your intention to continue doing it. Just because you got caught and your wife gave you the ultimatum, that's when you said, I'm not paying it for anymore, right? But you paid for 7 months, I didn't. So that to me has established that you have a course of dealing, and your course of dealing was to pay for rent every single month.
Yes, Your Honor, but isn't it possible that what you're bringing up possibly ends when we had decided that
No.
it would be,
Nope.
so
We
under,
didn't decide.
Nope.
so under this,
She didn't decide. You broke up with her because you got caught. You were cheating.
Nothing was wrong.
It has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with your course of dealing.
Has nothing to do with us being together.
Your prior performance. The lease doesn't say that this lease is only for when we're together. I have nothing else that says that we're
Did
together.
you check Section 8?
The checks are just you deposited directly into your bank account, $3,096 every month.
Does the lease supersede all oral agreements?
There is no oral agreement. I don't know what oral agreement you're talking about. You didn't have an oral agreement with the landlord. This is a lease that she has with her landlord, and she ended up paying the last 3 months of rent. She's suing you because you paid for rent every single month. So you two had an understanding that was cemented by your prior performance of paying rent every single month. So had you paid $1,000, $1,500, 1 month $3,000, another month, I don't know, $1,200, and she paid the rest, then I would say, okay, you know what, Ms. Prieto, you're out of luck. You know, you signed the lease, you didn't rely on him because you guys were both paying for it. But because you were very punctual with your payments every single month, without fail, it shows me that that's what you intended. You intended to keep paying for rent. So,
Well, Your Honor, I would
I
say
didn't do it.
we had agreed that I would pay rent while we were together, and so
you wanted a bigger space. You wanted her to move into a bigger space. And the
Well,
fact
that's something that we had agreed to
And the
together.
fact that you paid for rent every single month, it's very simple. It's your conduct. Absent a legal document, I have to look at the conduct and the intention of the people. Conduct is, actions are pretty strong things that tell me what that person meant. So again, you paid the exact rent every single month on time to her, and she then paid her landlord. That tells me a lot. It tells you that you intended to pay rent for the whole year while you were there together. So I didn't do that. You did, so I can only follow the law. So based on that, I will grant the plaintiff's claim in the amount of $9,288, which is the amount for the last 3 months of rent. Good luck, especially to you, Mr. Meady.
Thank you.
All rise.
Judge Perez has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay $9,288.
I sure hope your kids don't end up like you one day.
you might have won, but justice didn't.
Thank you. Guys, this way.
Coming up on Justice for All.
Did you give her permission to invite friends?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
And it was
Did
not
you know
a
this
friend.
person?
No, it was a stranger, a strange
He's
man.
not a stranger.
Okay. Is he a stranger to her 8-year-old son?
Absolutely.
You're watching Justice for All with Judge Cristina Perez. Brenda Lopez is suing Rachel Emanuel in the amount of $295.62. Ms. Lopez claims she was babysitting the defendant's son and says the 8-year-old used her credit card to buy hundreds of dollars of video games.
Ms. Lopez, you are suing your friend, Miss Emanuel, for a total of $295.62.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right? Explain what happened, please.
My ex-best friend asked me to babysit for her, as she has before, her 8-year-old child. She's a single mother. I absolutely agreed to do so. By 10 p.m., he was in bed. By midnight, she was back from the emergency that she had at the hospital where her mom was at. And then 2 weeks later, I find out that her child has stolen almost $300 out of my bank account.
Okay, how did her child steal $300 out of your bank?
He grabbed my credit card while I wasn't around him. And
The day you were taking care of him, babysitting?
Correct. Yes, Your Honor.
So do you have a credit card statement that says he used the
Yes.
credit card?
I have.
Okay, why don't you give that to Cinder? So you had no idea that her son used the credit card?
No, until 2 weeks later when I saw my bank statement and he had purchased almost $300 in video game.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Whoa, and he's 8 years old?
Yes.
Wow.
Your Honor, may I
Do you
please
let him
interject?
purchase video games, Miss Emanuel?
No, not usually. He usually asks for permission, but
Why
Miss
does he
Lo-
ask for permission?
because he's 8 years old, and I will.
And you teach him right and wrong, obviously.
Of course, of
right?
course.
That before you do something, you have to ask mom for permission.
Of course,
Okay.
yes.
Coming up,
How many times did you come downstairs from those 2 hours?
I did
None.
not. He was glued
None,
to
none,
the video
none.
game,
Wow.
and he knew that it was available.
No, you did not even care.
you're watching Justice for All with Judge Cristina Perez. We're back with the case of Brenda Lopez, who is suing Rachel Emanuel for reimbursement of funds.
so then you noticed that he grabbed your credit card. You don't know when I thought you were babysitting and watching him.
No, I was upstairs at the moment.
You went upstairs to do what?
I was with a friend that I invited over. I knew him very well.
So you invited a friend over to your friend's house. Did you give her permission to invite friends?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
And it was
Did
not
you know
a
this
friend.
person?
No, it was a stranger, a strange
He's
man.
not a stranger.
Okay.
He was
so
not a stranger.
Is he a stranger to her 8-year-old son?
Absolutely.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Miss Lopez. Is he a stranger to Miss Emmanuel?
Yes, but not to me. I knew
so
he was
then
a good
it
guy.
doesn't matter if it's to you. You obviously know him, but you knew your job that night was to babysit. What's your son's name?
Willie.
Willie, to babysit Willie. That was your job. You agreed to do it like you've done previous many times before, you said. So you decided to bring a friend against her knowledge, which is so completely wrong, and you go upstairs for 2 hours. You don't watch Willie. Did you even come down and check up on him within the 2 hours? How many times did you come downstairs for those 2 hours?
I did not. He was glued to the video game,
Wow.
and he knew that it was available.
You did not even care for 2 hours to walk downstairs and see how the 8-year-old was. Miss Emmanuel, so what did you do when you found out that she had her date over?
When she called me and told me about the credit card charges, I asked her, how could this have happened? You were watching Willie. Willie would never just go steal. She tells me she had a man over. I was livid. I could not imagine anyone bringing in a stranger, let alone my best friend from childhood.
Judge Perez's verdict when Justice for All returns. You're watching Justice for All with Judge Cristina Perez.
He basically stole money from her. And I know you're raising him to teach him that that's wrong. So the moment you found out, you should have said, you know what? I dislike you for what you did. I hate that you put my child in that predicament, but he shouldn't have done it. Here's your $295.62. That would have been the right thing to do. Because then you would have showed her, you know what? What you did was wrong. I know what the right thing to do is, okay? So based on the evidence, I will grant the plaintiff, and I want to be smiling about this, Ms. Lopez. This isn't winning the lottery. No, fine, you get reimbursed for $295.62 that this young man used against your authorization. But I don't find this funny in the least bit.
No, I'm just happy, Your Honor. Thank you.
Happy?
Shows
Yes,
who
that I
she
got
is.
justice.
All right.
I got
All right,
justice
based
for
on the
somebody
evidence.
who ruined my name
Based
and our
on
group
the
friend.
evidence. Listen, Ms. Lopez, how could somebody ruin your name when you're the one who brought a complete stranger into when you're
Because she's
babysitting an
making
8-year-old?
things up.
That is on you. Don't point a finger, because how many do you have pointing right back at you? 3. All right? Be careful.
All rise.
Judge Perez has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay $295.62.
I got justice.
Justice for Willie.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.